I'm super excited to introduce you guys firsthand the GVM 1000D, and this is actually the GVM 800D, so you can actually have a reference of what's going on here. And I'm actually reviewing a kit today. It comes with a very nice case that fits everything in there. So the first thing you're gonna see is the two power cords, the two power supplies, one for each light of course, the two stands, and also a light. Then they have a pouch for each light. So when you put this back in the case, you don't necessarily need to put the pouch back on the light. You simply lay the light back in the case here, and then you just put the pouch on top, and then you close the lid, and then put all the accessories in there, so nothing's gonna scratch anything. So when you actually open this box, you're gonna be ready to fire very quickly instead of taking stuff out of the pouch. Now for this stand, I highly recommend that you actually put it back in the pouch. Now as you notice here, I have a ND gel here. This is just to expose the LED diodes properly. I have the light set to 1% here and 1% everything here, because if I take this off, it's gonna be a little washed out. I just want you guys to take a look at this pattern here. So comparing the GVM 800D with these lights here, software wise is pretty much the same thing, but hardware wise they made this whole thing better in every single way. Let me start with the design here. As you can see, the diodes, they line up like this, and they have less LEDs than this one here. And this is actually at 0%. At 1% you see the shape of the LED diodes there, how nice that is comparing to this. And another thing, as soon as I power this light on, I almost fell out of my chair because I've been waiting for this for so long. This is the usual display that you're gonna see with your GVM lights. You're probably tired of looking at this thing here, this blue old school. The numbers are very tiny, very hard to read. As soon as I power this thing on, check out the display. Look at that. Is some sort of an OLED display. If it isn't, it looks like one, I don't care, but this is a lot better than the old school display here. So the numbers are big, and this type of display here, it doesn't matter if you're looking this way, all the way to the bottom, all the way on top, all the way to the right. You can see this number very clearly everywhere, every angle. This is a big plus right here. So again, a nicer LED design, and awesome display here. And just a quick disclosure here, this video is not sponsored by GVM, and yes, GVM has sent me this light for free to test it out, and of course I get to keep the light, but I'm not paid to say anything, nothing subject to approval. Anything that I gotta say about this light is how I think or how I feel about the light. And this light here is about 8 inches across, and the same height, both lights, but this one here happened to be 10 inches across, which means more LED and also more power. Also, you notice that the LEDs here, they are on a flood side, a flood type of LEDs, and this ones here, they use lens LEDs, which allows you to project the light at a farther distance. And also, the beam is about 45 degrees. This one here is a little bit wider, and it's also a little weaker. This is more like a flood light, which can be a good thing and a bad thing. Same thing with these LEDs here, it can be a good thing and a bad thing. For example, this light here will require a little bit more diffusion. So as you can see, they have the same degree or grade of diffusion panel. They have the older GVM lights. They usually come with a thicker, milkier kind of a diffusion. But this one here, the new series, I don't know, somehow they are coming with the lesser diffusion. I guess that allows also to project more light to output this light. But keep in mind that the diffusion is going to be limited. But there are several ways to correct that. For example, this is one type of diffuser, a Roscoe gel. You can actually choose the grade of the gel, super frost or 1/4 of the frost. So, the more light, the thicker the gel, the less light will pass through. So if you need a lot of diffusion, you're gonna buy one of those things here. Also, if you go to a Walmart store, this is called a tracing paper. It's in between a paper and a fabric, so you can actually put this on the front of the light here. So this is actually a perfect diffuser, and this does not alter your color temperature. It's going to be the same exact color temperature because the white is perfect on this. Same way they make this scientifically precise not to change your color temperature. This is a huge 5x7 background, which you can actually place the two lights behind, and you have a huge bank of soft lights. So there's many ways to diffuse these lights in case you don't have a actual softbox as a key light, because what I recommend as a key light is to have the largest softbox that you can have. But if this is all you have, you know what to do as far as diffusion goes. Now let's talk about some differences between this light and the GVM and even the GVM 50RS. The GVM 800D is a 40 watt light, and the LEDs, like I said before, is more on a flood type, those little square diodes. This one here is a 45 watt light, and the LED is different than this one here. This includes some kind of a lens that again helps to project the light at a farther distance, but less soft, if you will, and also less floody. It's this one here is wider, and this one here is slightly narrower, and the 50RS has the same exact diodes as this one here. Again, lots of flooding, but not as far away through distance, you know. So, and the 50RS is a 50 watt light, so 40 watts, 45 watts, and a 50 watts. So the difference in power here is minimum, but the actual 5 watts somehow can make a difference depending how close you put the light on a subject that you are illuminating. But to be honest with you, I would rather have this than this one here. I don't know, it's bigger, it's prettier, and the display on the back, there's a lot of things that they changed here. The barn door is cooler. As a matter of fact, the fact that this is actually a rectangular shape, when you actually use the barn doors, you can actually do a little something more with the light spill, because this one here, not so much. But again, this type of barn doors on this LED panels like this, it doesn't matter if it is a GVM or any other brand, they don't cut a lot of light, unless the barn doors, they were like twice as long, and then you can actually have a huge thing here blocking the light. But keep in mind that, you know, I won't even care about this barn doors. There's so little that you can do, but they actually work. This one here, I saw the difference because I was in the aiming at the ceiling. The light was spitting at the ceiling, and when I was closing the barn doors, the ceiling spill kind of was gone. So it kind of works better. And continue with the hardware differences or similarities between the 800D and the 1000D. Everything is pretty much the same regarding the barn doors. Whatever plastic this is, let's say it's an ABS plastic, this is made of plastic. The back here is the same aviation aluminum body here, and also the light is about 1.8 centimeters thick, the same exact thing with the 800D, and this light, they weigh about 1.2 kilograms, 2.4 pounds equals 1 kilogram, so you do the math there. So it's about 2-ish, almost 3 pounds this light. The primary reason why I love the GVM 1000D as it is right now, because they're actually gonna do the same exact thing for the new upcoming GVM 800D series, the Mark III or whatever you want to call it. Probably the 50RS as well. So the biggest reason why you want this, the newest light here, is because they finally got rid of the Wi-Fi, because I hate the Wi-Fi app. Every other manufacturer, newer, Godox, everybody is doing Bluetooth app, and GVM finally listened. Now this actually is a Bluetooth app. The whole thing connects a lot faster, is a lot more reliable. Now the biggest advantage of that is because your internet is free. You're not stuck with the Light's internet, so your phone probably doesn't ring if you have a Google Voice, for example. You can't listen to your Spotify or whatever. I can actually receive my emails, so like the internet is open while I can actually connect to this light here. So this is the primary reason why I want to get straight away the GVM 1000D or the latest generation here, because the Bluetooth app alone is a major event as far as GVM light goes. Now let's take a look at the back of the light here. As you can see, hardware wise, this is the same power switch, the same knobs here, the same thing, the infinity thing that you actually keep turning, nothing happens, it doesn't stop. And the light can go from 0% in 1% increments all the way to 100%. And this one here is a little bit better because I don't find myself actually twisting the knob a lot. So to change from 100% to 0 is pretty much 3-4 turns. This one here, the other one, the older one, is about, I don't know, 10-15 turns. So good one. And the color temperature is the same thing. On assisted mode, it goes from 3200 degrees Kelvin all the way to 5600. So since they are changing a lot of things in the slides here, when you press the mode button, it's gonna map differently, or it's gonna feel different than what you're used to regarding the 800D, the 50RS and whatnot. So when you press the mode button here, so far it's the same thing. You keep pressing the rotate, the slave, and then the master, and then the app. So far so good. So when you are at the rotate, it means that if you want to connect to the app or anything else, if you want to temporarily disconnect there and do a little whatever here, you can, and then you go back to the app or to the master. So this is what the rotate is for, to the best of my knowledge, I guess. And the slave, this light is going to be communicating with the light here as a master. This one is going to be set to slave. And next is going to be the master. So each light is going to do its own thing as far as you control the back of the light here. And also the finally the app here. This is where it connects to the phone application here. Now I'm going to show you guys how easy and how reliable it is to connect to the new system here with the Bluetooth stuff, which has always been a lot more reliable. With my experience with the other brands that I have, which they all have Bluetooth. So right now my phone, I'm double tapping my home screen here, and all the apps are closed. This light is set to the app. You must be setting to the app before it gets detected here. So let's go to the GVM apps there. So as you can see on the almost the bottom of the phone here, you have the GVM Easily. That application is for the Wi-Fi series only, such as this one, the 50RS that I have in the back, and also this light in front of me here. Now the light that you want to connect to the Bluetooth is the GVM2, the GVM LED slightly above on the left here. This is the light that you got to download if you bought this light over here. You got to skip this thing here before something else appears. Now, as you can see here, there's a BT LED single unit, and you want to click connect. And then this is how long it will take to connect. It says connected. You have to wait until this message connected disappears, and then there you go. The light is fully controllable, and you have your CCTs. Here you have your HSI, and also your scene mode, and my scenes, which you can actually save. I'll go back to that in a second. Let's go back to CCT mode. Back to 1%, so the light here looks good exposure wise. You can also turn off the light, turn it back on. And on the left here are your channels. They only matter if you're using this light on slave. You know, with the app here, I'll leave everything set as channel 1. The My Scenes, when the top right, the little diskette thing here, when you click on it, you can actually save the preset you like on the effects. For example, let's go back to the effects here. And you have the disco, and you happen to like the duration to 5 seconds, all you have to do is to click on the diskette little thing here, scene, whatever the name they want to give, and then it's going to save the scene here as the disco with exactly the, for example, if you are on candlelight, and then I go to my scenes and select this one here, they just save, it goes back to the disco at the exact 5-second cycle here, and brightness at 4%, if you will. So on the top left you have your settings, so you have your vibration on or off and the sound on and off. I usually like to leave it off because you know when you send on the iPhone or iMessage, the text message, it goes like whoop whoop. That's the sound that they chose here, which is kind of annoying, so I actually turn it off. And I also check for updates. This is the beautiful thing about having the Bluetooth, because you have internet on the phone. If you have the Wi-Fi, you can never check for software updates. You can't receive emails. Your internet is done as long as you're connected to the Wi-Fi on these lights. So I can actually check for updates. If there was a new firmware here, I could possibly even update the firmware. Still able to control the light with the app on. And here you have the About Us. If you bought this light on Amazon, here's the Amazon email. And if you bought a B&H, this is the B&H email. Exit system. You just quit the app. Now let's disconnect this light here. And let's connect again. Let's see how reliable that is. Connect again. Connected. Nice. And I actually noticed there's a slight dim. It's not too little, not too much. It's just the right amount, which is pretty cool. So from 0 to 100. And then back to 0%. It kind of, I love that ramp here. The 150S, they made a new software thing there with the dimming takes like 9 seconds. I don't know what the deal was, but this one here's the correct type of dimming. Very nice. So let's be honest. How many of you guys read the damn menu? None of you do. Probably 2%, because when you guys see the menu, paperwork, you know, doesn't matter. Because I thought to access the scenes here, the effects. Because I couldn't see here, for example, at the mode here, I have the rotate, the slave, master, app. So let's go back to master here, and which you're gonna have to press once, and then you have the RGB. Press the button once again. You have your saturation. Press the button once again. Back to CCT, which is the 3200, 5600 Kelvin. Press the button one more time. You are back to the RGB. and then you can actually have your colors here changing and everything. And by the way, this is something that GVM also improved, because these lights over here, they tend to change the colors abruptly, and this one here apparently they did a better job, because as you can see, is a more gradual effect. See, I'm changing the lights to the cyan, then the blue, and then as you can see, it doesn't jump, so it's gradual. Very nice. Another thing that they finally got it right. Go back to the red, and then go back to the yellows and whatnot. This light over here, if you crank it up to 100%, and then the fading is better. The problem is with these lights and all the previous GVM lights, when you actually down to something like ridiculously low, like 10%, and then this light over here, I'm gonna show you this right now. So I'm gonna be actually setting the light to 10%, and then as you can see, the colors, they jump like this. See that? Boom. Now the same thing here, 10%. Watch how gradual the thing is. It doesn't jump anymore. Just a little bit, but I'm happy with this here. This light here, you gotta make sure you are back to master mode or rotate. And then you long press the button here for I think 5 seconds, and then here's your effects. Because I thought the effects were only available by using the app. I was gonna be not happy if that was the case, but you can. And then to change the effects here, if you press the buttons up and down, which is the same thing you do here, that's not gonna do anything. Now what I'm gonna do to change the effects here is to quickly press the CCT hue saturation button here, which says here SCE, with the scene thing here. So press this once, and then you change to effect 7. Let's start with the effect number 1. So the effect number 1 is this, the lightning. The effect number 2 is the police car and such. Another thing that I noticed here with the new lights and the older lights, because every other light that I have GVM wise, when you're using the app or setting this light to the master slave, anything that you're changing, there's a whole second delay between the colors or brightness or whatever. Look how much quicker this light is now. There's almost no delay. Let me up the intensity here. So I'm at the red, jump to blue, green. So it's almost like an 1/8 of a second. So I'm gonna go jump here, jump there. Brightness at about 3%, so 5600, 3200, 56, 32, everything is fast. So you have the effects here going on. It's almost immediate response. Pretty nice. So that's the end of my review here. If you like what I saw, please consider subscribing. Once again, thank you very much for your time visiting this channel, and thank you again for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time.